Alright, welcome back everyone to Liminal Horror Solo RPG. This is our 9th session. And these last two videos, or this one and the one before, came out in pretty rapid succession, so I'm not going to do a whole lot of, of a recap or housekeeping or anything like that. So we're going to pick up where we left off with Iris, Chaz, and Todd finding themselves in the basement of an apartment complex on the border of downtown and industrial. They walked into the basement and saw that it's essentially like there's a collapsed wall that they can go through, and it's this big old chamber, like a chapel almost, or some sort of temple. And in the center there's a huge crater with a tunnel leading down, and they had resolved to enter the tunnel. So let's get going. I kind of have like some idea of the tunnel, but we're gonna test the scene regardless. So we are on Chaos Factor 6. I need a D10, and we'll roll that. Figure out. That is a 5, so test scene. 5 is okay, so it's odd within. It's an altered scene. Interesting. So altered. Okay, yeah. Alright. Alright. So as they're entering the tunnel, they see, not too far into it, like what looks like viscera. Like there's sort of a trail of like a pool of blood with like sort of organic gummy looking material. And then the trail leads into the tunnel, sort of like, sporadically bits, little giblets of something, and it gets thicker and more viscous as they traverse the tunnel. And at about, we could say like 50 yards in, they see what looks to be like the upper portion of a body. And let me get 1 second. They follow blood trail to a body. All right. And then we're going to see if they recognize the body. So we are at C6. We need, I will say, it literally could be anyone, so I'm going to say very unlikely. Do they recognize it? V, unlikely. Alright. That is a 64. So very unlikely. We needed a 35 to pass that. So 64. No, they do not. And we'll say that the body that they found is, they don't recognize this person, but they have like a robe on, sort of tattered, shredded at the bottom, where like their innards are sort of being kind of pulled out. They look like they were crawling, like pulling themselves along, probably when they passed. And we'll say that they they turn the body over. They turn it over and see a badge for Erickson Waste Management. Okay, so they've seen this before. The person that went after Todd and fucked him up also had a badge for Erickson Waste Management and a key card. This body, they're gonna search it. They don't see any key cards, but underneath the robe, like when they lift it up, it's they're wearing the same thing that the assailant was. So there's sort of a theme running here. Let's see. What can we... They're gonna keep going. They continue downward. All right. As they're heading downward, I'm gonna say that they start to notice like little well, they're not little, they're like pitted areas in the stone tunnel, or like the rock tunnel that they're in. They're like, yeah, like pretty round, pretty smooth where like the indentation is. And just out of sort of instinct, I'm gonna say Chaz pulls out the egg, the stone, and it's like almost a perfect fit. So we'll say pitted grooves in tunnel fit egg perfectly. Almost. And as they're sort of like glancing down, like down into the tunnel, it's becoming more and more prevalent, like these pitted indentations, sort of like a lotus pod, or for the trypophobia people, this might be a little too much, but like a honeycombish like appearance, sort of dizzying, like there's just too many like differences in depth, and it's not along like the walkway, but in the walls, in the ceiling, they can see like Swiss cheese with too many fucking holes. And as they're moving down, they notice that some of the eggs are still in these pits, and they're all like warm to the touch. Like you don't even need to touch them. You can just hover your hand around it and you can feel this warmth coming off it. But there's also like there's like a pounding headache, like a nausea when you're around them. And it gets worse as they delve into the tunnel, and then it opens up. So give me 1 second. More and more holes, then eggs and holes, and then ends Lovely. And an open chamber. So, is there anything in the chamber? We're gonna say, does anything catch their eye? It's dark in here. They do have their phones. So they have their phones out, like they're sort of seeing it in the flashlights of their phones. Do they notice movement? All right. 50-50. They got their phones. I would say whether it's like a mouse or something, they would be able to see movement. So we need a 65 or lower to be a yes. Technically, might not be a great outcome. An 86. Right. It's gonna be the session of no's. Alright. So what did they see? We're going to roll on the meeting tables. Give me 1 second. Let's just see. 13. Meeting table 1. 13. Betray. Let's do one more. An 86. What do we got here? Suffering. All right. So they don't see anything. There is like at the end of this chamber. There is no way out of this. Like it looks completely closed off, like it's sealed. It's like pretty, not round, but you know, like oblong shaped. And at one end of it, the eggs that they've been finding, it looks like they're being pulled from further back in the tunnel where they started and like brought to this area. And so there's just like clusters of them sort of like placed into the ground, like onto the ground, like sort of like dirt shoved up around them, creating these like little, I don't know, collections of them. And it's not like a smooth, like this isn't like very neatly done. It looks like pretty primitively done, or like aggressively, you know, like just sort of like clawing, digging dirt. And as they're sort of processing all this and taking it all in, I think that from what's happening, like Todd just snaps. I think, yeah, he can't handle this anymore. From what he saw and what he experienced, and just this whole fucking night, and being here with them, yeah, I think it was just too much for him. And I think he snaps and grabs Chaz. I need to look at something really quick. So, yeah. He snaps and he grabs Chaz. Pulls out his multi-tool. We'll say it's like a box cutter. attachment. And holds it to Chaz's throat. Okay, so I think that, you know, everyone's freaking out. Like, he's got Chaz by the throat, and he's like, put the fucking egg here. Just toss it. Toss the fucking egg, and let's get the fuck out of here. And he's like, pretty manic at this point. Like, Iris can see it in his eyes. Like, they have sort of like a grayish, like, film to them a little bit. Not like a totally clouded film, but there's like something wrong with Todd. And he's going on and on like, this fucking place, I can't be here anymore. I can't be in this fucking place. And he's telling Chaz, pull it, take it out of your fucking pocket and throw it. And so Chaz, he reaches into his pocket and he pulls it out. All right, Todd, calm down, man. I got it right here. And he chucks it. Give me one sec. He makes Chaz toss the egg. And then I'm going to say, does anything happen to the egg? $50. Let's roll it up. What do we got here? 65 or above for a no. 66. So that is a 46. I'm going to say yes. And the egg cracks. And the small well, not larval, we'll say the small like undeveloped body of the, we'll say it's the creature. They saw earlier falls out. Okay. So they throw this egg, Chaz does, and it cracks and just sort of like this putrid, just like cream white, off-white, sort of milky substance pours out of the egg, and out slides this like sort of membranous, I don't know, like early stage version of the creature that attacked them at Professor Hillard's house. Just slides out, twitches, and then just like slowly starts to settle. And Todd, I'm gonna say, stomps its life out. Okay, so Todd does that, and then at that point they hear skittering and shrieks from the tunnel. Okay, so yeah, so they hear like this shrieking and just like sort of like the scraping and just tapping of like something moving towards them in the tunnel. And the creature that confronted them, I don't know how it knew that they were here, or that they had made it here, or if some way was communicating with its young. But I mean, it's just aggression. It's just pure fucking aggression at this point. And it knows what they've done. It like sort of like skitters up and like takes its like appendages and just like sort of scoops its young towards it, and then its body sort of like undulates and moves and lifts its head up. And I'm gonna have them roll for dexterity. So give me 1 second. So creature emerges. And we'll say aggressive. And I'm gonna say, like, this is they're seeing this again, and I mean, it's just like the sight of it, like they know what's happening, and they know the situation they're in. So I'm gonna have them roll stress damage, and we're gonna say that's a D4. So let me get my pencil. And we're going to have them roll stress damage. Alright, get these out of here. That's cocked. Let's re-roll it. That's a 2 for Chaz. So, doesn't do a whole lot other than take his HP down. So he's got 4 hit protection now. Todd, also a 2. He's got 5. And Iris is a 1. So she's got 5 as well. And now I need to come up with a quick stat block. So this, I think what I want to do, the cop, we'll keep that there. I don't know what's going to happen with that. So the creature. Hit protection. It's got like, it's quick and it's got like an exoskeleton. So I'm going to say also a 5. Strength, because of its size, we're going to say is a 14. Dexterity, we will say that is a 13. Control, we'll say that's a 10. Okay, so we've got that, and now we need to roll dex saves for everyone to see if they get a chance to go first. Okay. Let's see what happens here. Ugh. 4. Oh, actually, that's perfect. Okay. So for Chaz, bam, he does get to go. A 10. Oh, Todd, you fucking idiot. All right, Iris. That is a 9. Todd, you having that 8 dex is not great, my guy. Okay, so What is the... We're going to say the creature does D6. Well... Let's see. Yeah, we'll say D6. Just keep it. It's slashing. I don't want to go too crazy with like a D8 or anything. So the creature does get to go before Todd, so it will get its own round, and then Todd will get to go with the group. So it'll go Chaz and Iris, then the creature, and then all three of them again. Okay. Alrighty. Who has what here? Todd is unarmed. The multi-tool was more just like narrative. Iris has a revolver, which I have marked on here. Chaz has a handgun and a box cutter. Okay, cool. Should be good then. So let's get to it. Chaz, so the creature is like sort of like creeping around like the side of the room, like trying to figure out its angle and how it's going to get to them. It can see very clearly that its creature's like remains are just coating the sides and sole of his boots. And so it's sort of got its eye trained on him. Alrighty. What do we got here? I'm nervous. So Chaz's going to go first, and he's just going to line up a shot. Or wait, I don't need to do that. We always hit. We always hit. What was I doing? What was I thinking? I'm thinking... I've been playing OD&D a lot, so I think that's where my head was at there. So yeah, this is Liminal horror. So Chaz is gonna pull up, drop down to like a knee, and just like aim for this thing's head. Oh God, Todd or Chaz, sorry. So the creature's got 4. The bullet sort of like, it's dark enough to where he's got to do this with his flashlight in his hand. So it sort of like ting, hits the stone wall, ricochets somewhere. They can hear it hit the dirt. And now Iris is going to fire her revolver. Actually, I need to make a note of that. There we go. Iris is going to fire her revolver. Also a 1. Sort of similar story here. We can say that like it hits, but it just like ricochets off of its exoskeleton. And now the creature's gonna go, and it is going to essentially like jet forward, like just skitter forward and go for Todd. So that's a 2. So Todd's at 3 now. Todd's barely able to kind of like roll out of the way. He's pretty banged up though, so he's like more of like a fall out of the way. And now everyone else gets to go. So Chaz is going to line it up again, sort of trying to keep track of where this creature's at, just like panning in the dark. That is a 4. Okay. So that, my friends, puts that at 0. And that's 1 rollover. So, is there an easier way to do this? Yeah, I'm going to keep track of the creature's strength down here. So we'll say 13. That way I don't have to keep erasing. Iris is at 5. So Chaz makes a hit. He can hear like the sort of like squelch as the bullet hits it. Todd, he can't do shit, but he is gonna just swing at this thing. And he does do, he's like swinging wildly, punching. He manages to like hit one of the joints, like the joints on its segmented appendage, sort of like bending it inwards. You can hear it like kind of shriek a little bit. So it's got 12. Iris gonna fire a shot. 1, guys. All right. Oh wait, I didn't mark hers off. Okay. So fired another shot there, and now the creature's gonna go, and it's going for Todd again. Ooh, shit. Okay, that's a 5. So Todd's at 0, and that's gonna bump him down to 1. So now he's got to make a strength save and essentially hit a 1, or he takes a wound. And he got a 3, pretty close, but Todd, I feel like you might be in trouble, brother. Yeah, he's got another wound. He's got 2 inventory spots left. Yikes. Okay. So he's got 1 strength left? Fuck. Okay. And we're back to Chaz. Gonna fire a shot into the creature. That's a 6. They're at a 5 now, baby. And Todd, within range, a 4. No, that would make that a 1. So the creature's got 1 life left. Iris gonna fire here. That's a 5. Okay. What do we got here? So that's a 0 there. So I gotta make a mark real quick. So she's got 1 round left for this thing. But all that said, she manages to hit the creature as it's moving like away from Todd, sort of pulling away. Like, I'm gonna say when Todd got hit, like the creature has like the mandible parts sort of just like sort of chomp down on like his thigh. I mean, he is bleeding at this point. There is just blood pouring out of his leg. Didn't hit like a femoral artery or anything, but as the creature was pulling away, its mandible is just dripping in blood. Iris fires a shot, and it just enters through one of the creature's eyes, clearly hitting like its brain. And this thing just like drops dead. Like, we're not talking twitches, we're not talking anything. It is dead. So they essentially are like skirting around it and like maneuvering their way. Hold on, actually. They're maneuvering like around this creature, just unaware of what's going to be happening. Like, they don't know if this thing's like gonna pop back up or if there's more of them. So they're skirting around like the edge, like the periphery of the chamber, sort of back to the tunnel. So let me make a note of everything that went down. They kill the creature and leave the egg behind. Okay. Hell yeah. So they accomplished this. And they're like, we fucking did it. I can't believe we did this. Like Chaz and Iris hugging Todd on the ground. I need a fucking doctor. Iris, just completely fed up with him. This whole fucking leading that thing down here, bringing it down here, may or may not have been his fault, but he stomped out one of the young creatures from the egg, and it was like a call and response just sort of happened. The creature came back down, so she pulls out her fucking revolver, and she's got it trained towards him, and it's just like, when we get out of here, I never want to see your motherfucking face again. Everyone's just silent watching. Todd doesn't say anything. And she puts her revolver away and turns to walk towards the tunnel. Chaz, silent as well, he helps Todd up. Doesn't give him like a shoulder to lean on or anything like that. And he moves towards the tunnel as well. Todd sort of hobbling behind. And yeah, as they're sort of like nearing the opening of the tunnel back into the temple, chapel, whatever it is, that chamber, like the circular place with all the pews, they can hear voices. We'll say voices are heard in the temple as they draw near. And I think that's where I'm gonna end it for this episode. A lot happened. They killed the creature, which is insane. Todd is barely hanging on, but it doesn't seem like they are home free yet. So I will see y'all next time, and we'll find out what happens. All right, thanks y'all.